So welcome back to IFA 2010. This is our wrap-up video. We've been around the show floor now. We've only had one day to go around and have a look, so that's why the coverage is not quite as intensive as CES was this year. But Steve, we weren't going to come out to IFA. It was a last-minute decision to come out here. Do you think it was worthwhile?
Definitely worthwhile, Phil. Yeah, I think we've seen some quite interesting products at this show this time around. I particularly enjoyed seeing some of the stuff that LG have got. They've obviously been listening to the feedback on the forums and the reviews, because some of the criticisms of the 8900 was the fact that there was so little distance between the LED backlighting and the actual panel that there was occasionally some banding issues. They appear to have developed something they've called nanotechnology now, where they put a film in between the two, which is supposed to reduce that effect. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like when it actually gets released in, I think, about 6 months to 9 months' time, and we'll review it, of course. They've also got the world's first THX certified 3D TV. That's the actual 3D part that's been certified by THX. So very interested to get our hands on one of those, take a look at that. What else have we got? I'm not trying to think what else is there. Phil, what did you see that looked good?
Well, I guess disappointing for me, disappointing for some of the guys that'll be watching out there on the forums that are Panasonic owners, is the fact that we didn't get anywhere with the issues with the VT20, 50 and 65-inch TVs. Right. But they did launch the 42 and the 46-inch and also the 42-inch GT20, which does 2D to 3D up conversion. Panasonic said they were never going to do it, yet it's there on that TV.
Although they did also say that they're not even going to advertise that fact. It's something that they it's there, but they don't mention it in any of their marketing. So clearly it's like the ugly stepchild in the attic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to be there because of the competition. You know, everybody else is doing 2D to 3D conversion. It looks awful. It's maybe useful for some games. I can see some of the gamers out there maybe using it, but in terms of movies and so on, it was just terrible. Yeah, terrible. Just makes everything look like it's been drawn by Salvador Dali. Although the interesting thing on the Panasonic stand, Steve, was the consumer camcorder, but with the side-by-side 3D adapter on there.
Yeah, that's interesting, because certainly that gives the opportunity for the consumer to create some content that they can actually watch on their new 3D TVs. And the big problem at the moment is just a lack of content. Now, on the side of content, of course, there was a big announcement of the Sky and LG link up. So Sky are basically going to be recommending LG displays for use with their broadcast, which start, I believe, in October. So we should get some content there. But otherwise, the big problem at the moment is you've got a massive hall where everyone's just talking about 3D displays everywhere, and you go around the corner to one of the stores, and there's 3 Blu-rays you can buy.
Well, that's the big thing. I mean, everything on the show floor is 3D, 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 and it's getting a bit tiresome now. The technology's there, don't get us wrong, folks. Technology's great. When it works right with the gaming and so on, it looks absolutely fantastic. But the technology's there, the content's not.
No, it just isn't, unfortunately. I mean, that's the problem we've got when we're trying to do reviews. I mean, we've got to get our hands on beg, borrow and steal Blu-rays from all over the place just so we've got something to watch.
Yeah, folks, he went out and bought Clash of the Titans in 3D. You sad.
Despite me slagging it off in 2 podcasts on the trot. I've only bought it so that I can slag it off on the 3rd podcast on the trot, and in this, actually.
Well, 3D aside, the other thing that hopefully you've seen the video there is the Galaxy Tab from Samsung. Now that was interesting. Does everything the iPad does, but in a nicer size.
Yeah, it's slightly smaller. It is a phone as well, which is interesting. And it's also got a 16:9 screen, which I thought was a big mistake on the part of Apple, because if you're going to use it to watch material content, that's going to be in 16:9 predominantly. And so I think that looked like an interesting product, I must admit. I was quite impressed with that. And very intuitive to use, unlike the one that Toshiba had that seemed a bit less obvious to use.
Yeah, we were going to show you the Toshiba tablet, but every one that we picked up
didn't work.
So not very good for a technology show where your product doesn't work. Finally, we're looking at the Sony stand. The only really interesting thing there, for us, Steve, was the 3D projector, SXRD. We've seen a couple. Sharp had one as well, which was using side-by-side content. It looked quite good. It was nice and bright. Yeah. And the Sony as well. So it'd be interesting to get them in the review room.
To get those in for review.
And of course, the issue there is brightness. You need to get the brightness up there to get the 3D effect, and all 3 of them seem to manage that okay.
Yeah. Certainly the demo that I saw, they looked quite bright. So it'd be interesting to see how it works in a domestic environment.
The only thing with IFA and coming over here to Germany, and one of the reasons why we almost didn't come over, is because we do CES at the start of the year in Las Vegas. We go out there and we do a full week out there because that's where you get all the big technology news. And it's happened again this year. We've come out to IFA, and apart from some new sizes of TVs, there's a little bit of new technology, but a lot of the stuff we've already seen back in January.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's always the problem with late in the year shows, isn't it? Most of the other stuff gets announced in January. But there were still some interesting things to see, though. I think it wasn't, certainly it was for me as a first time at a show. It was an interesting experience and a good baptism of fire.
And it's just as big as CES. If you've never been out to IFA, I mean, the building here is massive. You need a bus to get from one end to the other. If anybody's ever seen Valkyrie on Blu-ray, the shot of the Nazi headquarters, this is actually part of the Messe Centre. We were up there having a look earlier on. Yeah. The history around here is pretty fantastic as well. So it's a nice setting to have the show in.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, as always, it's an interesting location and also a beautiful city to come to. I haven't been to Berlin for 20 years, and it's changed a bit since then. And I think we've been lucky with the weather. We've had it's been a great trip and very interesting. Lucky
with the weather. We've been indoors all day. So that's the show wrap up from IFA this year. We hope you've enjoyed the content. We haven't been out here for days on end, so there's not an awful lot out there for you to look at, but we've got the most interesting stuff on video. So go and check the videos out if you haven't already, and come back and join us in 2 weeks' time on AVForums.tv, because we're going all the way over to Atlanta, Steve and myself, for the Serious Show 2010, and we're really looking forward to that. So come back and join us for that. In the meantime, check out the videos, and thanks for watching.